What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today I wanna answer a question from the comments, and that question is from Jenny, and the question is, who is the strongest hero in PvP? And I thought about this a little bit more than I expected, because, well, for me PvP is of course about synergy. So if I were to compare stuff, it would mostly be teams, full teams, because 5 heroes together, they have synergy, they work together, maybe even the positioning in AFK journey, because that can play a role. And of course, I mean, even the enemy team can play into your performance. You have to change up your team in that way. So it is a very complicated thing. Breaking it down to saying, okay, a single hero is really the strongest in PvP is a tough question. But still, nonetheless, I thought about it. We get an invader here into the video, okay? I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, okay, let's make a list of candidates for such a question. Who could they be? And I made it shows 5 heroes. Didn't choose you. How did you get in here? Let's swap him out. You are certainly not the strongest. It is Bonnie, of course, that we want to have in here. And those are the 5 where I said, okay, if there is a strongest hero in PvP, it is one of them. It is one of those 5. And I want to demonstrate each and every one of those to you today. Show them in a few PvP matches, show their strengths, discuss a little bit the weaknesses and everything. And I want to start off with my favorite hero. My favorite hero is Harak. And Harak, when he was released, like the coolest animation, the coolest design overall, and just looks great on the board. It's just such a powerful hero. And let's just get into a PvP match. I will show you my PvP team. We should have an attack still. We do. Nice. We now have to find a proper enemy. Let's attack this guy's place 6. That's okay. And this is the team that I run with twins. And I have Lily May in the back. Ever since Bonnie was released, I usually had like Harak there to get the enlightening spell buff. But ever since Bonnie was released, I kind of like to put Lily May and just have Harak a bit in front, because he just doesn't get the debuff then. I prefer that a little bit. Ludovic for instant heal. Thorin is great tank. Overall, the condition this needs to do really great damage is for Harak to get a kill. Once that happens, it's all over. It is all over. He will find every single enemy, and you can see even a normal attack, just 2-shotting the Fresto there. 1-shotting the next one, 1-shotting Lily May. He eats the card, and that is really a prime example of how a Harak team should look. Absolutely steamrolling the enemy. Does this work against every single enemy team? Not at all. Not at all. You can't counter this. And there are 2 ways to counter this. Either you have stronger burst, for that, for example, Brownie's recent video with the Dionel burst team, or you have super strong sustain. If you have super strong sustain, I mean, I can't punch through. In this situation, of course, we have a massive Paragon advantage. And this I want to say in advance. None of the videos I want to show today is like designed to show you a competitive team. We are fighting usually with heavy Paragon advantage. So I want to show you the mechanics mostly. That is the interesting part here. Nonetheless, if we take a look, well, if you fight heavy sustain, Harak's actually worthless. If you can't get a kill, well, nothing really happens. He just won't deal a lot of damage. So can be difficult and can be a bit of a problem. He's not super squishy, but can be kinda. This another positive aspect of him is that he's unaffected for most of the time. Like usually doing like his damage, he becomes unaffected, which is pretty good. And he eats your own heroes. Just like, it's like a super downside. Or somebody's, apologies, what did you just say? He eats what? Yeah, he eats your own heroes. If he doesn't get a kill in time, he will start eating your own heroes, which is usually only seen in boss fights. But if you fight a heavy sustain team, I guess that could happen, and you could start eating your team. Wouldn't be too great. Other hero, I mean, we have Lily May here. Lily May is pretty cool. Let's take a look at the fight again, and I want to take a little bit of a look with you guys at the Lily May performance. Like, look at that Fresto going down there. If that was the original one, he would have already lost his Fresto in like the first 2 seconds of the fight, and this is one of the stronger abilities of Lily May. Lily May has super big burst. Super big burst right at the beginning of the fight. People honestly underestimate it. I haven't really seen people talk about this. Mostly dream realm damage when people talk about Lily May. But the burst, like just at the beginning of the fight, was honestly kind of a madness. On top of that, we have interesting abilities here with Lily May. Lily May has the ability to counter ults, which is really, really cool. She can just counter an enemy ult, which is basically her ult. We take a look at that. We have defensive spelled. When it's non-summoned enemy casts their ultimate, Lily May becomes unaffected, leaves on the enemy, deals a ton of damage, interrupts their ultimate. So we have a ton of true damage. We can cause enemy to stop their ult and lose energy, so basically resetting the energy bar, which is super strong. Ton of damage, I already said that. And invincibility frames during her abilities, which is really, really great. See that, she remains invincible during these attacks. And those people, what is also a little bit underestimated is invincibility also means you can't be CC'd, can't be targeted, you can't be damaged, you can't be CC'd. So she's immune to damage for relatively often. Every 20 seconds she can do that. The attacks takes a little bit though, so a few of those seconds are already gone then. And this deals a ton of damage, and she's invincible during that time. If during that time, for example, enemy Tazi were to decide to do an ult, well, she wouldn't be CC'd. She could still attack the Tazi after this ability ends. So, quite mad, quite insane. And oftentimes just the best damage dealer on the board. We can take a look at another fight that I had there. We have this fight here against Potato. Take a look at that. 3.3 million from or Lily May out-damaging Harak here. I mean, Lily May has the better starting position. We see the same effect right here. Bam, the Fresto there immediately gone, which should show you, by the way, that you really want to have the copy run into the fight first. If your original Fresto runs to the fight first, you risk losing the copy as well, because when original is gone, then, well, so is that. And Lily May, insane burst. Great hero, overall rounded. I kind of feel like that she would have left some teams already though, because she's not like the super synergy hero. People use her to counter an ult, and in general, I mean, people don't really mind. She's very strong, but the reason she's forced to be in every single team, well, her or Dunlinger really, but most people don't have Dunlinger, so they run her. Is this guy actually? Because that was at the time when Lily May was released, and we can take a little bit of a step back now. Let's take a step back now. When was she released? Season 1. Season 1, not the greatest season, but we just came from the base story. And in the base story, Eironn destroyed everything. When people started to know about this guy and the combination potential, he entered every single match. You could go into arena and you were fighting Eironn team, Eironn team, Eironn team, Eironn team all the time. And the reason for that is just his Mythic Plus weapon. His Mythic Plus is that he can cast his ult for the first time in each battle without consuming energy. So immediately at the start of battle, he will cast his ult. And there are a few more heroes that do that. Brian, for example, Niru. So, and this ult is a great CC. It's just pulling the enemies together, immobilizing them for some time, and dealing damage. Not super big damage in this season, it's quite nice. Immobilize just makes it so they cannot move or use movement skills, which wouldn't be the strongest CC. It's not a super good CC, really, but for heroes like Carolina, for heroes like Arn, or for Ulcer even, it's enough to trigger their abilities, which then means, well, they will deal damage to the enemy. We can take a little bit of a look here at the fight with an Eironn team, and for that we want to fight Mega Fungi, and I should have already prepared a team for that. I think there is a team already prepared. This guy is running Lily May. So we want to counter Lily May, and for that, in this situation, we just use a decoy Niru. We could use a decoy Brian, but my Niru is P3, and I want to make this look kind of strong. Because, I mean, it is a little bit of an older team. It's still great. It's still great. I remember when I fought the biggest whale on my server with just an Ulmus team, and I cheesed that with a CC chain. That is a strong part. You want to have a CC chain. And right here, we're using the Niru. That will take the counter attack of Lily May. And the way this works, by the way, the closer a hero is to slot 1 on your side, the earlier they will trigger their passive. So because he's closer to the middle, essentially we can say he will trigger his passive earlier than the Eironn right there. And this will result in Lilymay actually blocking his ult, and then our Eironn can just target the enemy team, pull them together. CC will be made a little bit longer by our Ulmus. We have true damage on our Arden actually through the charm of Ulmus, and he is invisible and invincible, no longer now, but because of the Wilder skill. Ends now in a second actually, because, well, this Fresto there is nearly gone. Still always managed to kill the Nero. No idea. It's crazy. Nero just always mentions to die. And then we can just CC the enemy. And we didn't even go for a super solid CC chain here. It was just like some big damage. I just wanted to show the principle. The principle of this team is like super big burst. And if your enemy doesn't run a Lilymay, that would give you potential to just put another hero in there. And so it often kind of feels like you really only decide about 4 heroes on your team. Decide on 4 heroes and then you put Lilymay. And Lilymay isn't a bad hero. She isn't a bad hero. But it still feels like those people are scared of Eironn. Because you just don't get to see teams without Lilymay. And it's not because she's the strongest unit in PvP. Especially if we talk about our next contender, Bonnie. You could very well build the Bonnie team without Lilymay. It's not like you want Lilymay on that team. Bonnie needs magic heroes that have synergy with her. She needs magic heroes that help her do well. We can fight, by the way, the same enemy team now once with Bonnie. Let's do that. I will prepare a team. Okay, a little bit of a Graveborn team, Valka in there, Ludovic in there. We got a little bit of Thorin and Tazi for some magic damage synergy. And we got Bonnie there. What Bonnie does is she puts like this debuff called Aging on the backmost enemy, I think it was. And yeah, on the rearmost enemy. And this reduces her haste and starts dealing damage. Actually, she starts dealing a ton of damage. And Bonnie is a hero, A-tier Graveborn. This is a hero you can just immediately slap on your wish list. Easily, and she will do a ton of damage. Check this out. Check this out. Just the start of the battle. We already have Aging right there. Got a little bit of heal over here. Aging starting to do its work. We have Tazi going in there. Valka blocking a little bit. And at the beginning you don't even notice it too much. But once Aging is on all of those enemies, and this is now the case, it will really chip away their HP. It will really chip away HP. You can see it. And bam, they're gone. And suddenly, and this is always like the Bonnie effect, suddenly you start winning. Suddenly you start winning. And it is sometimes even a bit unexpected. It's a bit unexpected because somehow this damage is now on the enemy and it just ends up winning you the game. So we can see the damage now that was done by Bonnie and take a look at that. That is a Supreme Plus hero. That is not even Paragon. I mean, we still have the Paragon advantage because I put other Paragons on the team, but it's still a Supreme Plus hero. That is madness. That is a ton of damage. And for many players, Bonnie really was the hero that allowed them to build a team again, to punch a little bit up and beat strong teams. Not like Super Whale, but beat strong teams. And I think Bonnie is really a cool, strong hero. She doesn't even need an ult. So it's not like Eironn, where the ult can potentially get countered. I mean, you can work around that, especially in offensive teams, or by just using him in Supreme Arena teams where don't fight Dunlinger or Lilymay. With Bonnie, it really works, always works, because it's just it is just a passive ability. When the battle starts, she does that. So it's not an ult or something that could get countered. The thing is, you kind of want to run magic damage heroes with them. With her, and you kind of want to have a little bit of a tanky team, because this is damage over time, which means you need time for it to deal damage. Such an obvious thing at this stage, but it's good. It's a haste reduction. It works fairly well. She also has a pretty decent ult that can stun the entire enemy team, because Aging is pretty quickly spread to the entire enemy team, especially if you have plus 10 on her Mythic Plus weapon, and then she really gets going. For her, the good thing is she's easy to get. She's super strong once you get her to Mythic Plus, really. and it's great. It's great, honestly. It's such a great hero and works fairly well. You can use her with a lot. She's even used in Eironn teams in PvE. It's like even there. I mean, yesterday showed this team, for example, should still be the same team. Yeah, this team is a little bit adjusted to that. And by the way, we can show it again, I think, because I love this team, actually. I'm not sure if we can make this work if this guy there keeps slapping us. But this team, honestly, is kind of great. It's kind of great. Double true damage on there. And come on, Eironn, we need a little bit of CC. Kind of broke out. It's just like melting enemies. Love it. Yeah, just a little bit of a demonstration there. And even here we got Bonnie in there because the haste debuff is nice. Just being able to full on stack stuns on the enemy gives you such a nice CC chain. And even here, take a look at that. Big damage. True damage Bonnie, by the way. Also fairly fancy. Now, lastly, there is an OG damage dealer. And this is Dionel. And Dionel, well, is become even more of a whale hero. He used to be like a sign that you fought the whale because only whales really went for him. But I feel like at the start of the game it was of course a little bit more viable to go for him because the situation wasn't that you had all of those other heroes. Twins wasn't there, Talene wasn't there, Dunlinger wasn't there, so you had Skalita and like Dionel here, and then on Hypogean you had Rainier and Burial. So you only had like 4 heroes. And a little bit more, wait a little bit at the start. I mean, it could happen that you went for Dionel. But this guy's actually insane. And I want to show you that, and I don't want to show you that with my Puny Supreme Plus Dionel. I want to show you that against a proper team. Mr. Brownie Games from YouTube, definitely subscribe to this guy. Set up his Dionel team. Bit of a revenge because we destroyed him with an Eironn team in one of my last videos, and he said, I forgot to set up my Dunlinger. I put the Dunlinger in, no chance, was crazy. So this is the Harak team that you saw before. Same team, same everything, fighting this team. We even, I think, have a little bit of a Paragon advantage. Not too sure. Could be, close. But take a look, show you what happens. So Dunlinger blocking all ults. We try to get a kill with our Harak, and we are bursted down in about 10 seconds with a 26 million damage hit by Dionel. And in case you didn't see it, because it happens quite fast, Dionel drinks, intoxication reaches cap, bam, entire team nearly gets nuked, and he finishes us off in seconds. What happens there is his Mythic Plus triggers. That's the Mythic Plus of Dionel. And the Mythic Plus of Dionel is essentially once he reaches max intoxication, which means he got enough non-permanent buffs. He needs non-permanent buffs to get a stack of intoxication, and once he has enough of them, he will deal 200% true damage to all enemies. Up to 3 times the battle, by the way. Can be buffed, and here it becomes true damage equal to 20% of the target's current max HP, and can be up to 1000% of attack with the vitality reduction as well. So an absolutely huge shit that they me dashed out there. But even without that, all of the damage from his ult and from his normal attacks, so his penetration attack here, is crazy, absolutely crazy, and deals a ton of damage. Negative point with that guy, well, there are ways to counter him. I want to show that because I randomly found this team. This has super good survivability against his team. And the thing is, you can outlast Dionel a little bit if you build a super tanky team. In this situation, we of course have to, well, it is a little bit cheating because this team is heavily optimized to fight Brownie, because we kind of work against his Dunlinger by using Savina, we target his Harak at the beginning so that doesn't deal damage, and then we have super tankiness by just having the Ludovic and all the heroes close together with Lily May countering ults. All of that is pretty set up against him there, but it is certainly possible. And then he struggles a little bit. The problem is if you kind of get rid of some of the other heroes on the team and then you just really fight Dionel. And Dionel is usually accompanied by heroes that aren't too great. I mean, Dunlinger is cool, super strongest hero. And I mean, what is he running on the team? He's running Leica, and the reason is Leica has this attack speed buff that is a non-permanent buff. It's nice. Can also lower fist step, which is cool. But like having having such heroes on the team, having like then Hugin is great though. I like Hugin at P3. Can make it a little bit difficult once your Dionel doesn't do what he's supposed to do and is somehow a little bit countered. And then even a Sylvina can be enough to break your team. And that is a bit of a problem. So really, I mean, we talked about all of those heroes now. We talked about all of those heroes, and every single one of those has disadvantages. And I feel like the strongest PvP hero is definitely not Harak. The problem with Harak is if he doesn't get his kill, he's just straight up weak. And that part I hate. Like it's just that starting power that just isn't there. Then we have Dionel. Well, Dionel is certainly strong as a single hero. Super high investment to get him. And I feel like he's often in predictable positions. And if you attack him, especially in defending position, you can counter him. You can really counter him. Many of the teams are just built around him. So if you manage to counter him, which you can even do with like a Bonnie team, you can do it with Lorsan even, just targeting this hero and getting rid of him fairly fast will usually take care of the rest of the teams as well. So those teams are predictably weak in some situations. Then we have the combination of, well, the rest of those three. Bonnie, great damage. Super squishy as a hero herself, by the way, and needs time. Eironn, kind of the opposite. Well, not squishy at all. Burst, great team synergy. And then we have Lily May, direct counter to Eironn, which made her great already, and insane true damage burst. So who of those three is really the best? And maybe right now, write me down in the comments which one of those you like, or which is your favorite PvP hero. Tell me down below. Maybe you have another opinion than me. For me personally, I kind of feel like it's Lily May. Even though she was forced into the teams by Eironn a little bit, I feel like many people feel very good about setting her. And just feel like if I put the Lily May in my team, it's automatically better. So it's a no-thought slot. And not even because it counters Eironn, it's just because you just put such a strong hero on your team. And you get the ult counters, and those ult counters can be devastating. As I said, counter Tarzi ult with that, and the enemy is gone. You get the insane true damage burst from her abilities at the beginning. Can take out the Fresto, or enable your Harak to get a kill. And that is like really insane. Eironn, we now have two heroes that counter him specifically, so you kind of have to play around those. He's still in all of the Supreme Arena lineups. I don't know. I wouldn't build a Supreme Arena lineup, I think, without the Eironn comp in there. So this CC comp definitely is still there, and it's definitely one of the best teams. For Bonnie, I have to say she also made it into my comps. The only problem I have with her is like she's a little bit low still because she's fairly new, but we're getting there. Paragon 1 soon. And she kind of made it into the Gravebond squad. I made the Gravebond squad a little bit with Valka there, maybe Thorin if I don't have him set in another team, and that also works great. A little bit of Storr is such a great hero, and for me the first hero really of more Graveborn releases. I remember quite vividly the time where Graveborn was super weak. And now we are back to a point where we can say, okay, there are viable Graveborn teams. And if you see Ludovic on the board, if you see like a Thorin, if you see a Bonnie or a Valka, you will certainly not laugh, but consider what you want to set in your team to fight that. So, personally, I would say Lily May as just overall all-rounder, strongest PvP unit would take the cake for me. Maybe, as I said, maybe you have another opinion. Tell me down below who your favorite is. Did you like this video? And maybe if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate, by the way, all the new subscribers. We got quite a few new subscribers recently, so that was pretty great. But other than that, I wish you a great day. See us in the next one.